Nobody should be above the law.
It has been alleged that we were keeping a secret. There's no secrets here.
Remington knew they had a problem and did nothing.
Any complaints of the magnitude that CNBC alleges would have been uncovered long ago, and that's really where we have a hard time as Remington struggling with the statements that CNBC made.
An American icon, but this icon is riddled with questions.
These guns are defective. They are killing people when no one pulls the trigger.
5 years after the CNBC documentary Remington Under Fire, and 5 years after Remington spent more than $2 million to counter allegations we exposed about a deadly defect in its most popular product, the Model 700 series rifle, the company is offering to replace the triggers in every one, as many as 7.5 million guns in a landmark legal settlement. But now, as the court prepares to rule, CNBC has obtained new evidence, hundreds of thousands of pages, hours and hours of video.
These documents show that Remington has been involved in an incredible long-term campaign to hide the truth that they fire when no one pulls the trigger and that they're injuring and killing people.
This is Remington Under Fire, The Reckoning. Remington's Model 700 is an iconic rifle, but the trigger mechanism at the heart of it, known as the Walker trigger, is in 13 different Remington models, all covered by the settlement. The issue, according to lawsuits dating back decades, is that a defect in the Walker trigger's design can make the gun simply go off without pulling the trigger.
No fire.
Okay, didn't fire. Go ahead.
The lawsuits blame the design for as many as 24 deaths and hundreds of serious injuries. But Remington, which declined to comment for this story, has blamed every incident, every last one, on user errors like poor maintenance or pointing the gun in an unsafe direction.
Children were sitting double on a horse right here at the back of the horse trailer in plain view of her.
Right. We first met Rich Barber 5 years ago in our documentary. Now he could hold all the cards as Remington faces its reckoning.
I mean, I've just come to the opinion the best way to tell that Remington is lying is their lips are moving.
Barber's 9-year-old son Gus was killed on a family hunting trip in 2000 when Barber says a Remington 700 went off as his wife was unloading it. In the 15 years since, Rich Barber, searching for answers, has assembled a huge trove of evidence, Remington's own internal documents turned over by the company in lawsuits, but almost all of it hidden from the public until now.
Used in trial, asked him. See, I would ask them if they used it in trial so I could release it and never get a straight answer.
Yeah. How many documents are there?
My best guesstimate is it's in the millions. I have no idea. All I know is that I took the time to read them page by page and put the pieces of a puzzle together chronologically and topic specific.
Did you look at this thing? There are handwritten notes from Remington engineers wrestling with the problem of FSR, Remington's internal term for guns firing when the safety is released, which was what happened to the Barber's gun. These notes, written nearly a decade before Gus was killed. There's a study that Remington commissioned by an independent lab concluding that inadvertent firings may be an infrequent random phenomena caused by debris, exactly the theory plaintiffs' lawyers have argued and Remington has repeatedly denied. All of the documents, which Rich Barber claims could have saved lives, including his son's, have been hidden from the public all these years through a legal maneuver known as a protective order.
Well, these are the documents that you've never been able to share before.
Yes.
Protective orders are common in product liability cases, supposedly to let companies turn over evidence to the other side without having to worry that their trade secrets will get out, like secret formulas or unique designs. Trial lawyers are usually happy to go along, knowing that agreeing to a protective order, keeping the evidence secret, can buy them a bigger settlement. But critics like Arthur Bryant, chairman of the nonprofit watchdog group Public Justice, say the real effect is to hide information about dangerous products from the public, and Remington is hardly alone.
We've now become far too used to seeing examples like Takata airbags or GM ignitions not working. In all of these cases, the information was known to the lawyers in the cases, but the companies got the information sealed. When somebody gets close to the information, Remington settles the case. It settles the case before the documents can get out.
Rich Barber thought this case, in which Remington was finally agreeing to replace the triggers, would be different. So he signed on as a paid consultant to the plaintiffs, sharing his trove of documents with them in hopes they would finally get out, only to find the plaintiffs joining Remington late last year in asking the judge for yet another protective order.
Well, that's the one thing they promised me would never happen. I basically told them that my honor, my integrity is not subject to compensation, and you can't buy me like a cheap whore.
The plaintiff's attorneys declined to comment for this story. Barber resigned as a consultant, once again saddled with volumes of secrets he could not share.
And the judge wasn't having any of it either, was he? He denied the motion for protective order.
He not only said no, he said hell no. He said the court will not be used as a shield to conceal this danger from the public.
It is the judge's role to protect the public interest here. And what judges are supposed to do is say, I don't care that you agreed. I need the proof that there is good cause for this secrecy. Far too few judges do that. Thankfully, this judge did that. And so he didn't sign off,
giving Arthur Bryant and public justice an opening to demand Remington relinquish every protective order in every Walker Trigger case. The company, anxious to settle, agreed. It meant Rich Barber could share his archive with us and the world for the first time. In addition to the notes and memos, some dating back to the 1940s, there's this.
You want me to put a tie on?
No, I just want you
Outtakes from Remington's video response to our 2010 documentary.
I can put a little Remington lapel pin. I have one. Do you want it?
That's Jason Schaubel, a Remington vice president. He and the producer are figuring out how to deal with Mike Walker, the trigger's inventor, who told us he proposed a safer design.
The only two guys that they interviewed that worked at Remington were Mike Walker, who hasn't been in a plant since 1975 and is in an assisted living home, and they followed him around until they could string several words together.
I have to tell you, though, they didn't have to follow Mike Walker around very much to get him to say something bad. I mean, he's a pissy old man.
Right.
But the edited version is a bit different.
He's one of our most distinguished inventors and engineers. He's a revered employee.
It's really shameful. It's obviously a propaganda campaign, like a commercial, if you will, that has no facts. It only has people's opinion. In my world, facts always supersedes opinion.
Does this video put lives at risk?
Every time anybody watches it, because people are relying on the reputation of the oldest gun manufacturer in the United States, who is broadcasting to the world that their products are safe.
Under the legal settlement, Remington can continue to insist, as it always has, that the guns are safe, which could tell gun owners there's no need to get their triggers replaced. And that's fine with Remington. Not only does the company deny there's a problem, but according to court papers, if Remington had to replace every trigger, it would cost the company nearly $500 million. Rich Barber hopes his arsenal of evidence will convince gun owners once and for all that what he's been saying is true and that they need to get their rifles fixed.
I would say if you're on the fence, do your homework. And even if you're on the fence after reviewing the information that exists today, just out of caution, why would you not have your rifle retrofitted with a trigger to prevent any chance of you, your children, your wife, or your friends from being maimed or killed?
And with that, Rich Barber says, he will finally have kept a promise he made to his dead son 15 years ago.
I promised Gus that I would never be bought off and I would never quit until I've effected change. I just don't know what more I could possibly do to make a difference anymore.
But part of it means you're leaving part of October of 2000 behind, aren't you?
I have to. I have to move forward. My family deserves it.
And Gus?
I'll never leave Gus behind. People don't die and are just gone. What immortalizes us is that we're never forgotten. Gus will be immortalized, and I don't think that Remington will ever forget his name.